Hi guys, it's Ul and welcome to another review here on the channel. Today I'll talk about The Obsession by Nora Roberts. This was part of my competition with my bestie, which ended up in a tie. Long story short, I actually really like this book. So I've read Nora Roberts growing up. I read one of her trilogies of romance and her trilogy of fantasy, and I quite enjoy it. She's a very good writer and a very interesting writer to read. So I was expecting a good story from Obsession. So Obsession is a story of this woman who escapes a brutal reality growing up. From the first chapter we understood that her father was not the best person in the world, and her past keeps dragging into her new life. And after many years as an adult, she escapes to a very small town where she purchased this big house and she's trying to renovate, but she always tries to keep isolated. But she starts making connections towards the community, from the contractor who becomes her friend, to the sexy motorbiker who ended up being her love interest, to the dog she rescues and then she forges this relationship, and we see her open up. So that is the romance part, but this is a part of a thriller because part of her past comes to catch her in the present, and that is a little bit of the climax of the story. So overall, the story is a cute romance and open up of feelings and trust and space. I think that is one of the great things about the male love interest, is that he gives her space, he gives her understanding, and he respects her boundaries and her feelings. That it's very mature, you know. He's an avid reader, and at one point in his house she sees a book about her father, and he understands and deduces from that she is that person, so the daughter of that person. But he never takes that action as saying you are. He allows her to get used to and trust, and when she's open up, she says I know. And I think that is a great example of a really green flag of how relationships should work and how relationships should be. One of the most interesting aspects is that I thought it was like a little bit of a miss here, was that the interesting part of the thriller doesn't catch up until very late, and then it's very fast resolved. So it sets up an interesting premise that I think if you would start it at the beginning will be more intriguing, the story, but I think the author decided to focus first on her development as a character and her feelings and towards the community, to then introduce that part. And I think that was a little bit later in the story to make it very exciting and how do I say, that will capture, you know. And at one point you start seeing that and you start thinking about that and you start looking for the red herrings and from who must be the suspect through their actions. But I was very focused on the end, like I think I know who it is. It will make sense in my head and would make sense to the story, especially with the title. And when it was really like, yep, it was not like some shocking revelation. I was like, from the title, from what we read at the beginning, I was like, why? You know, you start collecting the pieces and it will make sense towards the story that who that person who is obsessed with her is. And yeah, so overall it's an interesting book. It's a book complex in terms of characters, of feelings, and I think it shows the maturity towards people. And I think that's what lacks in sometimes of the romances that I see recommended or I see being popular, is that they are very dry, you know. They are very straightforward, some scenes, and they even don't have this complex emotion, maturity and themes and how they perceive themselves, you know. And I think that was why I enjoy it as much, was because the main love interest is so mature and it's so respectful, and you know, is not just pretty and handsome, is also smart and kind. And I think that was very different from usually they are kind, but the focus is on the pretty part, and I think it was a very good book. Also, if you love photography, this is a great setting. She's a photographer and she goes about doing these photographs, and I think that would be very interesting in the book if in some edition they start, you know, doing these photos of her. Like, I think would be a great idea, like a special edition or something. It's not a special edition because it's Nora Roberts, but a collector's edition with the, like, pictures like she frames it. I think would be very interesting. But yeah, overall, I think I haven't read a Nora Roberts that I didn't enjoy, and it's an author that I could see reading more, but when time is right, because I believe that the writing style is just beautiful. It's just beautifully executed. The characters, you know, there is no way that you don't believe this is a real town and this is a real people. And I think that is the strength of Nora Roberts, is creating narratives that are real and that are true to this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed my review of The Obsession. Tell me in the comments if you have read them, if you have not. If you continue to like my content, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I have shorts, I have reading sprints, I have a lot of things, so if you want to join the family, you're more than welcome. I post videos at least once a week. You get a lot of shorts and reading sprints on Friday or Saturday, depending on the week. And I see you guys in my next video, okay? Bye!